Well, Dr. Carson, therein lies the very question, and that is that when you say that there are some people in America who are stupid because of their ideology, when you are president, if you win the presidency, you will have to be the president of everyone. You will have to be the president of liberals, of conservatives, of Fox News watchers, of CNN watchers. And so putting people into categories because of what they believe in terms of social programs and saying that they're stupid, how will you not be partisan? How will you bring those sides together?
I just explained to you who I believe the stupid people are. And they're not the people that you think are the stupid people.
You said that the people that you thought are stupid.
They're much better and they're much smarter than you think they are.
Yes, but the people, correct me if I'm wrong.
That's why they're not falling for all the garbage.
But Dr. Carson, correct me if I'm wrong. You said that the people who you think are stupid are the people who are calling for more social programs that you don't agree with. And I assume that you're talking about the social...
No,
Go ahead, clarify.
That's not what I said.
Clarify.
What I said, listen to what I said. Listen carefully. Write it down. Put it in quotation marks.
We're all ears.
What I said is that those individuals who see many of the downtrodden in our society and they pat them on the head, say, there's you poor little thing, I'm going to give you all the things that you need, and not recognize that what that has done is led them actually into a dependent position in our society. We can't afford to be making people dependent, but those people are not capable of opening their eyes and recognizing what they are doing to these people and that it is not beneficial to them. You know, we only have 330 million people in America. We have to compete against China and India, who have over 1 billion people each. Now, we need to develop all of our people. We can't afford, for instance, to have 20% of people dropping out of high school. We can't afford to have 5% of the population and 25% of incarcerated inmates. We can't have educational systems that are failing our people. You know, we need to be looking at these things not in a partisan way, but recognizing that America needs to be strong, and it can only be strong when it's united. And I would hope that at some point the people in your profession would recognize that they would do a much greater service for our nation if they would be trying to find ways to solve some of these problems that I'm talking about.
Well, Dr. Carson, I mean, one of the things that journalism is about is asking questions in order to get answers and try to solve problems. For instance, everyone is concerned about education in this country. All of the candidates say that. What makes your platform about what you would do with our schools different?
So you didn't hear a word I said. You're just waiting for me to stop so you can make your point. But, here...
Did you clarify your education platform?
You guys in the media, just stop for a minute and ask yourself, am I actually doing a good thing? Am I actually doing something to help to strengthen the fabric of America? Ask yourselves that. Or am I being used and am I being manipulated for somebody's ideological viewpoint?
Dr. Carson,
if you stop and ask yourselves that and stop thinking that you are the know-it-alls, I think you will be a real service to the people.
Dr. Carson, we ask the questions in the media. If you think that there isn't...
No, you don't just
Dr.
ask
Carson,
questions. You have
Dr.
an
Carson,
agenda. Don't tell me that you just ask questions.
Dr. Carson, you've just challenged my industry and journalism as a whole. And so
I will
to
continue
answer,
to challenge it.
Fine, that's your prerogative. But to your question, of course we have meetings every day, all the time, about how to best get the answers, how to best test the candidates, how to best ask the questions. We do that sort of soul searching all the time. And so
why
the idea
is it then that I can easily figure out which side you're always going to come down on?
Because it sounds
why would that be the case if you were objective?
It sounds as though you don't like some questions. There are some questions that you think are out of bounds. Questions about your past.
I think the questions will be fine if they're asked to everybody. I want you to ask Hillary Clinton the same questions you asked me. Will you do that? Will you promise that you're going to do that?
Yes, of course. Of course we ask Hillary Clinton questions about her book.
Okay,
yes.
Everybody heard it. Look, everybody heard it. We're waiting.
Dr. Carson, of course we ask Hillary Clinton questions about what she wants to do with foreign policy, what she wants to do with education, about her books. Of course we ask those questions. And
do you ask
all of the
her
candidates
questions about veracity of what she's done. I want you to go back and ask her some real questions about what happened at Benghazi. I want you to ask her, did her philosophy include not knowing anything about what was going on in all the foreign territories over which she was responsible?
Oh, Dr.
Will you
Carson.
ask her that? Will you ask her, when did a time arrive in our nation when we said it's too dangerous to go and rescue our people? When, in fact, you had those 2 Navy SEALs on top of that compound shooting those machine guns, allowing their colleagues to escape. But I'm sure they were saying, if we can just hold out, help is on the way. But help was not on the way. Ask her why help was not on the way. When did our philosophy change? What is the implication of that? Please ask her those questions. I would appreciate it.
Well, Dr. Carson, look, Hillary Clinton has been asked a lot of questions about Benghazi. Are you saying that you don't believe what has come out in terms of the investigation, that they did their best to try to save the Americans that night?
I don't believe that she has answered the questions that I just posed.
And you feel that the Americans were left when something more could be done?
Of course there was more that could be done. Are you kidding me? Do you actually believe there was not more that could be done?
Dr. Carson, sorry, somebody was speaking to me, but the United States military, as you know from the investigation, says that they did all they could. This isn't Hillary Clinton saying that. That's the United States military saying that. But again, Dr. Carson, I'm asking you the questions, and it sounds like you're objecting to the very questions being asked about how you feel. These are questions.
I've already told you the answers.
Dr. Carson.
You just haven't had the answers that you want to hear, that's all.
Well, here's a question. What makes you think that you are the best person who will bring all of these different disparate ideologies and people together?
It's not about me, and it's not about what I think. It's about the American people and what they think.
Yes, but you're running for president because you believe you can do it better than other people. So what is it about you that you think that even though there are ideologies that are different than yours, that you will be the best person?
And interestingly enough, you say that's why I'm running for president. I'll tell you the reason I'm running for president. Because I have hundreds of thousands of petitions from my fellow Americans asking me to run for president. It wasn't something that I particularly wanted to do, to be honest with you. But once I make the commitment to do it, I will go full force ahead to try to do it. And I believe that America is an incredible nation with incredible people in it. And if we're able to work together, the things that we'll be able to accomplish are amazing. But we have to be able to identify what those things are. We have to look at, for instance, a lot of people in your business will sit there and say, Republicans just want to get rid of regulations so they can help out their buddies in business. No. The reason that regulations are so onerous is because every single federal regulation costs in terms of goods and services. And who gets hit by that? The cost is the same for everybody. But when you go into the store to buy a bar of soap and the price has gone up 10 cents because of some new regulation that's been put in place, it hurts the poor. It hurts the middle class. It doesn't hurt the rich. And, when that middle-class person comes up to the counter and they have a whole cart full of things, all of which cost 5, 10, or 15 cents more, it affects their ability to live comfortably. These are things that you guys ought to be talking about. You ought to make it clear to people what is really causing the problem. It's not the rich, as some of the people in your media would like to have people believe. If you look at the fiscal gap of over $200 trillion and you take all the assets of the top 1% and you apply it against that, it barely makes a dent in it. We need to be dealing with the real issues here in terms of the quality of life for Americans.
Dr. Carson, it is always interesting to get your perspective. We appreciate you sharing it on New Day. You just said America is an amazing place with incredible people. I think that everyone across the aisle can all agree with that statement. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.